And yes, of course I need to edit it, because otherwise nobody sees the timeline for some reason. So we are live in here, and we are live in here, in theory. And indeed we are live in here and in there. This is not needed. This is needed like this, most likely. And I will need also this, like this. It looks good. And now let's try to understand one thing. Wait. Settings, dashboard, content, but like this. I only have that, and that is annoying. So even today will be like last time, that I need to be careful about what I do. Anyways, I tried to understand if I can somehow in an Android device see the chat on YouTube. I know I can on Twitch, and I'm actually doing it on Twitch. Sorry. But for some reason I did not figure out yet how to do it on YouTube. Either it is on the YouTube Studio app or it is in the YouTube app. I will try to figure it out. Anyways, we are here and I took notes. Actual physical notes. The first part of the notes was something that I took after the end of the stream the other day. And the second part of the notes were written actually earlier today, where I finished, let's say, to manage the notes I started last time, if you remember. Let me retrieve them right away. Give me a second and we will see right away what we need. And indeed, maybe you can see that I'm lighter, and that is because the note taking tool is getting its updates. So actually let me share what I did with you. And before even that, let me share something about what I did last time. Because last time I started the stream with something about who am I and what am I doing here, something like that at least. I will likely always use slightly different words to say the same thing. But anyways, I didn't actually say anything about who I am. I said things about what I want to do, what I care about. I didn't say even my name. And, well, first of all, I think I can share with you that I'm Italian. And if you see my nickname, the channel name, let's say, the YouTube channel name is Luccoli Creates. And it is pronounced Luccoli. I can share that with you because I expect that you would not pronounce it like that if you were to read it with well, the incorrect language in mind, which is fair enough. I'm streaming in English and most people will likely see me from abroad, not from Italy. And that was that. It was important for me to share this because I think it's quite important. If you want to communicate with me, at least you know how to call me now. And it was indeed one of the notes that I took because I felt almost enraged towards myself. Then, of course, I mentioned that I would need to. I think I actually mentioned it before leaving that I would review the notes that I was taking while streaming last time. And indeed, I did. So let me share with you some of what I did because it was quite interesting. Maybe I need to zoom in a little bit. Something I don't remember how to do. Change. Ah, there it is. Zoom in. Okay, let's try with. Yes, I appreciate that. Actually. So here we are, and as you can see, there is also a diagram, a graph that was created with Mermaid, that is built into Joplin. At least it's not built into Joplin; it's a plugin of Joplin that comes with Joplin. I did not need to even install this plugin, but anyways, this is the state of the art of the situation right now. We want, at least I want, to complete the interaction between Proxmox virtualization environment and Terraform to be able to create virtual machines via API and through some HCL files, since we are talking about HashiCorp. They may look like something like JSON or maybe sometimes similar to JSON or similar to even YAML to a certain degree, but it is HCL. And to do that, we found out last time that we had to do some operations on Proxmox, which we completed, and we needed to configure Terraform to be able to interact with Proxmox, and we did that as well. Now we need to complete the configuration file for the creation of the virtual machine. So the resource file, I think we could be calling it, but I'm not certain that is the correct term. And then test the virtual machine creation. And in here I reorganized, not completely, I fixed a couple of things about the notes I have taken last time. because of course there were some errors, and those errors I didn't delete them. I remember that during the stream I did delete my mentioning about an error in the documentation here. I didn't recreate it exactly as it was, because I couldn't actually, but I wrote something about it, and I fixed actually, and I added some description about this file because it was quite important for let's say the future improvement and the future uh, understanding of this kind of file and this kind of configuration. And indeed, what was not present in here before I left the stream was this conclusion that I indeed wrote after the stream last Friday. And I also remember that I mentioned about needing to basically work on this kind of feature, the footnotes, and indeed I did, because I went into the Joplin documentation and retrieved the information about the footnotes. I previously used it in the past, but not that often. And indeed I forgot, and I recreated that knowledge, which is fairly simple, as you can see, because on the right here is the, let's say, the rendered version about what is on the left, and as you can see, this is this, and this is the way in which the reference is created. Fairly easy, actually. Something I need to work on, and I have still on my notes, is a quick and dirty review of my previous stream, and this stream will be added to that quick and dirty review. So I will need to review 2 streams because I didn't have the time to complete, to even start the review of the previous one before today. So this weekend will be busy also with that, because I vaguely remember that I mentioned other kinds of things, such as yes, I wanted to how to say, I want to do this, I will note down to do that, which of course I didn't, because it's recorded in the stream. I also noticed that the stream may be deleted soon after if I don't do things, at least on Twitch. So the first thing I did after I ended the stream was to download the streams, both files from both platforms, which was interesting because they were quite different in size. So I will need to check again the files that I downloaded and the files that I will download about this stream, and review them. Why this review? To analyze things that I can improve, not only on my self-hosted infrastructure, but also about the way I actually interact with the camera, with the chat, and so on. And we do have some people in the chat, so feel free to speak, or feel free to not speak. Maybe I will remember how to get to the list of participants, or maybe not, or maybe not. So welcome wherever you are, but I don't remember how to take a look at you. Anyways, we can jump back into what we need to do. and that is working on Proxmox actually, because I need to figure out the management of ISO files to be able to put that ISO file in Proxmox to be able to then create the virtual machine. As far as I understood, but I will take a look if that is the correct way to do things, because I never tried it before. Oh yes, another detail that I was almost forgetting, and thankfully I did get myself ready to talk about it. I will create, or better, I already created a repository in which I will upload things, configuration files about the infrastructure, in the future YAML files for the Kubernetes part of the infrastructure, and so on and so forth. And I did so on Codeberg. I preferred Codeberg because it's based on 4J or 4J. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it is based on an open source project which is close to my philosophy. So this, of course, is a private repository, as you can see in here. If someone actually cares about having access to those configurations, they may contact me and I may be able to give them access to. Most likely when I upload data in here, in this repository, which is something that I will manage most likely later on after the stream. I will do it without providing you API tokens or secrets or password of any kind. As you can see here, there is a KDBX file which has quite a few passwords for my platform, but that is not only personal, it's pretty safe, I want to say. And in here I remember that we were using the folder tests, and here we have the test.tf, which is the file that first we will show it, and this is the configuration for Terraform. And if I recall correctly, with Terraform plan we get to see if there is something that we need to do, and there is something that we might need to do. Okay, on TCF online private partner. Okay, user has valid credentials but cannot retrieve user lists. Check privilege separation of API token. This is interesting because it's something that we didn't see last time. Last time, well, you can pick it up from the old stream after, but also from the notes in here. We can see that, wait a minute, I zoomed in, therefore this is difficult to see right now, but in here we have seen that everything was alright. This is the output of Terraform input. And it is quite interesting that instead, after the situation, but let's connect also to the Proxmox infrastructure host 240 and PVEM list something, or maybe ACL list. Let's see what happens with this. And we do have Terraform at PV, which is indeed so. User has valid credentials. Perfect. So it means that there is a connection, but cannot retrieve user lists. Check privilege separation of API token. Okay, this is interesting. Privilege separation. We did see that it was possible to do something like that. Yeah, let's do this command. List Terraform at PVE. We do have this PivSep. If I recall correctly, that meant and let's go help. Restrict API token privileges with separate ACS default or give full privileges of corresponding user. Ah, okay. That means I did it wrong because priv-sep, this thing, by default is 1, seems to be meaning that it will restrict things because this is the default, and that was a mistake. So we will need to delete this token and recreate it. If I can delete, there it is. Delete user. Yeah, last time I wrote everything, this time I'm being lazy. So let's start not being lazy. So Terraform at PVE is the user, and then token ID is Terraform form. Perfect. So if we go back to list, there is nothing. Perfect. And now we will create it again. Token list, no, token add, and we need the user ID. So Terraform at PV. We also need to give it a name, if I recall correctly. A name, yeah, the token ID, which will be again Terraform, so it makes it easier to manage. And we will add the priv-sep and set it to 0, and that should work. So this is the output. Oh yes, by the way, let me see. Yes, edit. This is the file for today, and we will start right away talking about issues. It seems, I don't remember if I do this, there it is. So I can actually keep it on the right as I write. It seems that last time I made a mistake in the creation of the token. It would seem. Let me try to retrieve the issue, but I can actually, yeah, there it is. Thankfully, I tend to be extra careful in this, so I'm able to retrieve the information properly. And this is the new token. The output above simply suggests that there is an issue with the token I created during the last stream. Looking into the detail about the token creation, the command used did not have a preset option. Yes, configured. I don't like option, flag. Better, I feel. Flag. This means that by default, as per the PVEUM help and command line help. That's it. The actually, let me quote. And let's quote this. Nope. Copy. Paste. Thank you. Again, the token created did not have the exact same privileges of the user we created. Let's see if this is actually the reason for everything. Now, as you can see, this is the full token ID, which is the same as the previous one, and that is why I recreated the token with the same token ID, basically. So if we go vim tef and we go in here, we can now do this, and if we go Terraform plan again, we get a different output, of course. Okay, Terraform used the selected providers to generate the following execution plan. The source actions are indicated with the following symbols. Plus create. Terraform will perform the following actions. Proxmox vmqm.first will be created resource Proxmox vmqm first. Okay, additional agent, I will not read every single line, especially because many of these. Oh no, wait. You didn't use the out option to save this plan, so Terraform can't guarantee to take exactly this action if you run Terraform apply now. The issue is that this now is checking this file as well, which is interesting, and that's likely why last time we didn't get this error, because the Terraform plan we ran last time, we ran it before the creation of this first VM file. Good. Everything seems to be fairly well connected. Let's actually write it down in the notes. The issue did not arise. Let's use a different form. Was not found during the stream last time because the Terraform plan command was run before the creation of the first vm.tf file. Perfect. Now we are still in the situation we were before, just it's more correct than before. We still need to figure out the ISO issue, and I don't know if there are other PVE command line utilities, most likely PVE PVAM, banner, self, CM, daemon. There are quite a few actually, and indeed I have no idea which one should be the one that could help me. I know self is related to storage. I don't need to do something with a proxy or with a scheduler. So what we need to do is go into the Proxmox documentation. Let me see. Oh, okay. I was already started to search. I had already started to search last time where to get the ISO files, and I don't want. Okay, how to upload the ISO files in Proxmox VE. I want to use YouTube if possible, but it does not seem to be possible. Virtualization on 2, Proxmox create a storage location, disk-based error, upload ISO to ISO store uploads. Okay, I don't have ZFS. Again, Proxmox VE documentation, PDF file, ebook. If we open the PDF file, maybe, and just maybe, we can do this, which already has a lot of possible choices, but you can also do this, that will reduce in a sensible way. Okay, this is the installation, which is something that we already managed. Installing Proxmox VE. Installation media, I don't care. I truly hope that after the installation there are still things related to ISO. ZFS proof feature 3.9.13, and we are here. Perfect. Let's go back here. 333 how to host system administration package repositories in Proxmox virtualization environment. System software updates, firmware updates, network configuration, time synchronization, external metrics server. Interesting. I will need to get that, or maybe not really, but we'll see. Disk health monitoring, another very interesting thing. ZFS on Linux, BTRFS, Proxmox node management, make on LAN, task history, bulk guest power management, first guest boot delay, bulk guest migration, RAM usage target for ballooning, certificate management, host bootloader, kernel same page merging. Interesting. Graphical user interface. I don't really want to use the graphical user interface if I can avoid that, I will be really happy. Proxmox cluster file system. Source time, theme provisioning, storage pools, volume ownerships. Okay, 6. Proxmox backup server, definitely not what I'm looking for. And yes. Oh, we'll figure it out. Maybe it will take 1 hour to figure it out, but I will. That is definitely happening. Deploy hyperconverged self-cluster, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, virtual machine settings, OS settings, system setting at disk. Okay, this is the settings. Okay, but maybe. Okay, when creating a virtual machine, VM, setting a proper operating system, OS, allows Proxmox VE to optimize some low-level parameters, for instance Windows operating system, which is likely not going to be installed in my Proxmox. Expect the BIOS clock to use local time, while Unix based OS expect the BIOS clock to have the UTC time. This is really nice, but at the same time ISO image is something that you didn't tell me about, but you call it ISO image, and that is really okay. Allocate, upload templates and ISO images. Data store.allocate template. This is interesting because it's connected to what we may have done last time. Data store.allocate template and data store.allocate space. Okay, template. Okay, so I don't need, maybe I can use maybe Terraform to upload the ISO image. That's interesting. Let's try to figure it out. And by the way, I have a lot of things that are open in here, but not very many of them are useful. So let's open Terraform, and after Terraform we will write load ISO image. Let's do Terraform now, but I do want to check a general operation. The custom build blocks for Terraform by downloading instruction, tweaking and packaging the stock ISO files. Okay, with ISOs to be used by Terraform on Proxmox. It's close to what we want to do, actually. Close. There are words that are close to things that we care about, maybe. And extending Proxmox Terraform to support ISO images. It seems that in 2023 something was talked about, but I'm not certain I'm using that provider. Okay, let's go back where we were. Maybe this is not needed. Yes, download installer. Okay, this is installation. Secure apt. The release files in repositories are signed with the GNU PG. Okay, it is using this signature to verify that all packages are from trusted sources. Okay, if install Proxmox VE from an official ISO image, the key for verification is already installed. Okay. Content amino item for each content type which the storage stores. For example, backup ISO images, CT templates, container templates, storage. Okay. Okay. So if I go in here, oh yeah, I need to. I'm not certain, but that's right. Login authentication failed, and yeah, I don't remember the password. Ah, yeah, wait, maybe. Yeah. One day maybe I will fix that. Local Proxmox. ISO images. So, I found it from the graphical user interface. This is great. Still, I want to try to figure it out from the command line. If I can. Okay, common storage properties. Storage properties are common among different storage types. What is 7.2.2? Let's go back to the index, which is fairly easy. 7.2.2, 7 point something is Proxmox VE storage. 0.2.2. Okay. List ISO images SM. Okay. Storage management PVSM. It seems so. PVSM. Safe size causal LVM. Add type storage allocate free list status, which is something that we can run because I'm curious, and also list, not enough arguments, list storage, list local. Okay, here we are. API info, export, extra config, import, volume, format, file name, path, prono backups. I'm not certain I can do what I want. Let me see. Help, import, I guess. Use it internally to import a volume. Volume identifier, format. Okay. String. Okay. Rename, base, and so on and so forth. So it seems that I cannot do what I want from command line. Directory backend storage per type. Proxmox VE can use. Okay, so we can do the opposite to figure out what happens underneath, maybe. Let me clarify. This is something I often do for work, even in my daily work. So if I need to perform an operation and I don't know how to perform such operation from the command line, but I do have access to command line as well as all the logs as well as the UI, graphical user interface of Proxmox in this case, what I can try to do is perform the operation from the graphical user interface. Sometimes in my work I even use the developer tools of the browser to see the actual API call used by the graphical user interface to interact with the backend and see what happens. That way I can figure out either the steps or directly even the commands needed to perform the operation from command line and see if this kind of operation would be 7 steps from command line, for example, because I expect it will be more than simply uploading the ISO file. I expect I need to create the logical volume and then after that assign it maybe for a specific role to manage ISOs and then upload the ISO to that volume. But in here, list ISO images. Okay, storage ID. Storage ID. Storage ID. I don't have storage ID. Do I have a storage ID? I don't know. Status. Okay. Total use available percentage. Local LVM. Local LVM. Logical volume. LVM. Logical volume. Logical volume. I don't remember. LVM meaning. Logical volume management. Manager. Okay. Most likely LVM in this case is logical volume. But anyways, I can list storage D, but how do I get, okay, examples using command line interface. Thank you, storage pools. But always with a storage ID. Where do I take the storage ID? Where do I take this storage ID set? Storage ID. Change set storage options. Is there a get? I don't remember. So I can scan LVM. And that could be the one. PVESM. So we're here. Scan LVM. PV. Is that the storage ID? Let me try to remember yesterday. Yeah. Day one, let's call it. And maybe going into day one, I can actually. So PV in this case was the realm for the user. Path, that is root, because it allows the creation of VMs. But I don't have. Scan LVM, okay. Scan LVM thin VG. What is that? Let's try it. LVM thin. I will get an error. Yeah, but give me the help. VG. What is VG? Volume group. It would seem. Volume ID. Type. So maybe if I go with local LTM with the correct thing, thank you. LVM, what happens? Nope. This local LVM thin pools for the volume group. And this is not a volume group. What is this? Like this. Oh yeah, like last time. Less. Perfect. Create a new storage. And okay, it seems that if I go and I go like this usage, I will get every single command related help. Yes, but that's not enough for my needs. So maybe a man page. Man PPESM, is there? Yes, there is. And the Proxmox Virtualization Environment Storage Manager. Perfect. Yes, add. I'm afraid I will not get much more. Unless in this status I get an explanation of the output. Free with Okay, nice. Import. Scan list storage content. Storage identifier. Yes, thank you. I know storage ID means storage identifier, but I need to read it somewhere, maybe. Yes, for scan a bit. I apologize. Nice. Yeah, thank you. The cursor, remove, scan, set status. Get status for all data stores. Only store which support this content type. Interesting. Enabled. Interesting. Format. Include information about formats. That is interesting. Only status for specified storage ID. Thank you. I will search for storage ID in a moment, I think. Target. Okay, if target is different to node, we'll list shared storages which content is accessible on this node and specify target node. Interesting. Okay, file level storage, block level storage, there are basically two different classes. Storage types. I agree. Third degree. Storage configuration, storage pools. Okay, path. Very interesting. Caution. Storage configuration pointing to the same underlying storage. Common storage properties. Most likely. I kind of fucked up some things about the storage of Proxmox. But who cares? Is my current idea. Then maybe in a few weeks or a few months I will need to destroy and recreate Proxmox. Maybe? I don't mind that. Let's search for storage. I did like this, but I'm not found. I did like this. Okay, interesting. Storage pool. See, storage pool has a type and is uniquely identified by its storage ID. A pool configuration looks like this. Type, storage ID, property value, property value, property value, and so on and so forth. The type storage ID line starts the pool definition, which is then followed by a list of properties assigned to that storage pool. It makes me think. Most properties require a value, some have reasonable defaults, in which case you can omit the value. That is why here this line does not have value, most likely. To be more specific, take a look at the default storage configuration after installation. It contains one special local storage pool named local, which refers to the directory varlib_vz, and is always available. The Proxmox virtualization environment installer creates additional storage entries depending on the storage type chosen at installation time. The default storage configuration etc pve storage.cfg is likely the file that contains the configuration. Okay, LVM, so dear local path this content ISO visit template and backup, which is something that I will not use soon, but it's okay. And LVM thin, local LVM, thin pool data, VG name, PV, content, routier, images. Okay. I don't know if you heard my neck, but VG name made me think of this command. So if I write PVE in here, what happens? Nothing. But at the same time, I have a clearer idea. So, clearer idea is a big word, but now maybe I can find features. Oh, Jesus. I wanted to go back to the same place as before. .gfg. Thank you, because I want to read this file, to be honest. And not only this, but there is also, was it here? VZ, no, VZ, VZ, maybe valid. I'm going by memory, so VZ, dump images template. But again, if we do like this, we have the default. So we'll go in here and local. So now if we go PESM status, we get this total and this used, which is likely in bytes. And I wish there was a -h, but it's not like df -h, but we can run a df -h because yeah, maybe not combining it to another CLI. And we get 94 gigabytes and 4.2. That looks like this. Yeah. And 5% of 4.4. It seems correct. So we got here, and now, as I was saying, I can upload the ISO in here, select file, it should be in downloads, Arch Linux, select, and store temporarily in vartimp, make sure there is enough free space in vartimp. Okay, I think so, this computer is fairly empty. Okay, yeah, this is interesting, and the file, let's give it the checksum. So indeed downloads, and I have it, the MD5. No, I have SHA-256. Let's hope that it is an option in here. SHA-256, it is an option in here. Perfect. Application, file name, okay, upload. It will take a couple of minutes maybe, and at the same time I can maybe, oh Jesus, not this network, task resources, resources, okay, let's go like this, thank you, so I don't freak out. Resources, get, okay, I get it, tasks, resources, the first scroll left, okay. Yeah, I should have started the network page before starting to upload, but at the same time, when it finishes, which I hope will be soon, I will be able to check on the command line side what happened. Store temporarily in var temp tmp. Well, temporarily is fair enough. Okay, started to import file, but the task checksums mismatch. This is interesting because locally we tested and it was alright. Let me check again. Cd download and 256 detach Linux. Oh wait, yeah, 86. Did I copy the wrong thing? This is strange. This is strange. Wait, I think it was Germany and it was the first Germany, but it should, maybe, yeah, that it is, it should be, oh Jesus Christ, it's another version, which means that I will download another freaking version. Yes. And at the same time we get also this. Oops. And we get in here and we go close and we go here maybe and we go to cd var var tmp and we go ls -l and a private service. What? So you're telling me that what? Yeah, I know this error. And I will fix it. Stop the triggers. Stop. Yeah, it's okay. Because I will do it again, but this time I will do it with the network open. Since it's getting crowded. Okay, do like this. Maybe. Yeah, the download has finished. And now we can do it. Oh, we can go like this. We can of the old version. perfect. Oh yeah, the old the streams from last week. As you can see, there are differences in size, but anyways, I'm not trying to learn by memory the name of the freaking 3FDE and 3A to E. That is correct, and it is the correct file as well because it's SHA-256. So now if I go like this and like this, I go upload completely front end this widget. Interesting. Select file, select SHA-256, 3A, 2E and 3FDE. 3FDE, perfect. Now if we upload, we will need to wait, but there it is, upload. And provisional headers are shown. That's okay. Nodes, Proxmox storage, local upload. Okay, interesting. So this is the operation that is being done. That is what I was saying. This means that if I go here and I PDSM, I don't have an upload in here. I have an import, but it is for volumes, it looks like. There is an add type of storage, not an upload. Very interesting. So quite interesting, these tasks resources, but it's okay. It would seem that most things like this are to be done in this way, but it's okay, it's not too much of an issue. Calculating checksum, it will take some time, of course. Finished, and now we have our ISO in here. And if I go status, of course I have a different kind of usage. That's totally fair. But do I have the possibility to get more information? List. Storage. Okay, so PDSM list. Storage identifier. How do I get to the storage identifier? Could it be PV? PV? So PV doesn't exist. Maybe it's local then? Yes, it is. And here it is. Okay, so if we have list, storage D, allocate, storage MD, file name size, nope, add type storage. Let's check. PVSM and help add. Okay, volume group name, interesting, VG name. Is one point, is casi, content, content types. Not the value here is used for containers and values, and value images for VMs. Okay, so maybe type. There is no ISO. So maybe it's truly true. I don't like that, but it is true that it can only be done from the graphical user interface. But again, we figured out, we did figure it out. Okay, so this is one thing. The next thing is indeed ISO upload. Doing the best part of the last 30 minutes, I want to say. And manage to search through the documentation and find the CLI utility to manage storage. That is PVSM. After a while, I understood that with this CLI it was not possible to upload ISO images. Thus I ended up using the Proxmox VE for the upload of the ISO file. Perfect. Now, is it actually true? Let's double check just because. And indeed, Proxmox CLI ISO upload. Proxmox upload ISO command line. It's probably something that can be done, it seems. Oh yeah, but there was an SCP. Oh yeah, SCP. Path to ISO image user at Proxmox server at path to destination. Thank you. We get ISO. Yeah, thank you. That's not what I meant. Start to upload the ISO via command line. Let's take a quick look at how to upload an ISO image to Proxmox server via the command line. To begin with, we have to connect to the Proxmox server via SSH. That's fair enough. Then we must add to the directory where we plan to upload the ISO image. According to our experts, this is usually a directory on the local file system of a network share. Okay, after that we will use the scp command as seen below to transfer the ISO image to the Proxmox server. After the file transfer, we can verify the ISP image is available in the Proxmox web interface by heading to data center and choosing the storage location where we uploaded the ISO image. So there was no need to look for a command line interface to do this operation. We just had to move the file to the correct folder, which is quite interesting. And the correct folder is not this one. I wonder which one it is. Wait, which one it is? Which one it is? That VZ. Images. Nope. Templates. ISO. There it is. So I could simply move it physically there. So at the same time I'm correct and incorrect, it seems, because indeed it turns out that the simple way to do this operation was to simply use CP to move ISO file in the correct folder in the Proxmox VE. This is both okay and I don't want to say concerning, but I expected more somehow. But anyways, now we have the ISO file in place. Which means that we can attempt to create the virtual machine through here, through Terraform. First, just say disk CD-ROM block. Okay, that I think is this. There was an ISO somewhere. Or maybe not. Yes, there it is. Okay, the name of the ISO image to mount to the VM in the format storage pools, storage pool, colon, ISO slash name of the ISO file. Okay, so storage pool is local in my case, I expect. And if I can, I would leave that there. No, not really. I can maybe copy it from here. Nope. Yes, that is. Now we can figure out how to create resource Terraform completion. I'm going to create the VM with Terraform. This section with for the ISO is as follows. Let's copy paste this here and already make it ready to be a footnote. Okay, so is as far. Oh, wait. I hate this thing and I will learn it another time. If I do like this, it's quicker. And I can remove this because it's not needed, which is something that I will do also in the actual file later, because all these notes will be together with the configuration files that I put in the Codeberg repo. So to correctly name the ISO, please refer to the documentation here. Not only that, because we also need in general left disks. Yes, this section create cam. Oh, jeebus. Perfect. Other documentation for this section starts here. And here. Why 3? You will see. Oops. 2 means this one. Instead means because I remember last time we searched for a while in the documentation, and I think it's the attribute reference, maybe? Nope. It's not the argument reference. Yeah. Disks. Disk block. Disks block. There it is. Given we are using the disks block, that is truly important to have it here. So we have then all the reference and the steps, because of course then we went to the IDE block, and then we went to the CD-ROM block, and then ISO. Perfect. perfect, perfect, perfect. Apart from the fact that we actually need to test it to make sure it is I think if I do this, yeah, it's quicker. Yeah, I feel better. So, ISO storage pool, that is local, ISO slash name of the ISO image, that is this file here. So I expect that we will create this with this. I had some kind of doubt previously because target node Proxmox, that's correct. First VM, that's correct. ISO file, that's great. First is the resource name, and indeed with Terraform plan, we get this stuff. Yeah, first. Management Terraform, and there it is. Assembly use none after apply. Plan want to add 0 to change, 0 to destroy. If you didn't use the -out option to save this plan, Terraform can't guarantee. Oh, wait. No, it's not if, it's a not. You didn't use the -out option to save this plan. So Terraform can't guarantee to take exactly these actions if you run Terraform apply now. This is interesting and I need to properly understand that. But even before that, is this enough? Argument reference. If you can see here, there are a lot of configurations that can be set, and indeed in here there are some defaults. Additional weight, so if you search additional, there is none. Search for age, there is some agent 0, that is the default indeed. Set 1 to enable the QEMU guest agent. Not you must run the QEMU guest agent daemon in the guest for this to have an effect. Not my case, but agent timeout, that is related to the agent automatic reboot severity error. Balloon 0, I like that. BIOS, okay, boot disk, CIU upgrade. Oh Jesus, wrong place. Okay, this is whether to upgrade the packages on the guest during provisioning. Restart the VM when set to true. By default it's false. Okay. Clone weight, current node, default IPv4 address, same for IPv6, define connection info. This is interesting. Attribute references exhaust with all the attributes. only applies when define connection info is true. Define connection info is true. So SSH hosts, attribute reference, and SSH port. Non-master apply, tablet, tablet. That's all. What does it mean? Enable, disable the USB tablet device. This device is usually needed to allow absolute mouse positioning with the VNC. And by default it's true. Indeed it's true. Talking on Proxmox, you know that unused disk, VM state running, VM ready. The doubts I had was about this OS type. Which provisioning method to use based on the OS type? And we have Ubuntu, we have CentOS, and we have Cloud Init. All things that I don't have. All things that I don't have. And that's quite interesting. But anyways, there are other Ubuntu. Wait a minute. What's network config? Yeah, okay. I don't really care. Display configurator says for CentOS versus recreation of change. Yeah, so as you can see, this again makes me kind of concerned, because it almost seems that I can only use Terraform to provision Ubuntu, CentOS, or it doesn't make too much sense what I'm saying, and maybe I am wrong, but at the same time that's a concern. Anyways, now Terraform plan again, for the sole reason that I want to copy and paste this in my notes. Let's take it a bit wider. Resource file for Terraform completion. Okay. Oh yeah, maybe. No. Okay, for the time being, it's good like this. So, Terraform run the command Terraform plan. This is the output. Oh, sorry, wrong key. Taking into account the note at the end before running Terraform apply, which will attempt to create the VM based on the configuration file available. Files available. We need to better understand this point, and indeed that is what we plan to do. That is Terraform himself, I think. Yeah. Let's add the plan, maybe. Does it have a different output? Myself. Yeah. It's good because this is it. It generates a speculative execution plan showing what actions Terraform will take to apply the current configuration. This command will not actually perform the planned actions. You can optionally save the plan to a file, which you can then pass to the apply command to perform exactly the actions described in the plan. Oh, that's interesting, and I guess that to do that, I need to use the minus, minus out, write a plan file to the given path. This can be used as input to apply. So if I go help apply, I guess that I can give it a file in input, out, approve, backup path, compat 1, destroy, lock, input. Ask for input for variables if not directly set, nope. No color, parallelism, replace resource state out, pass to right state to the true that is different than minus state. This can be used to preserve the old state. Okay. Var file name, load variable values from the given file in addition to the default files terraform.tf vars and out.tf vars, anything.out, star.out.tf vars. Use this option more than once to include more than one variable files. If you don't provide a separate plan file, then this command will also accept all of the plan customization actions accepted by the Terraform plan command. For more information, please run. Yeah, and that is what I just did. And what I found out is that I can just pass it to the Terraform apply. What I'm not sure about is another detail, because I have two TF files. Oh, and I have a log, but that's okay. I have testtf and I have firstvm.tf. Do we need to pass firstvm.tf, testtf, both? None? None will work. Okay. Minus out dot error. The cloud file cannot be written open. I need an actual file. Okay, so touch plan, save the plan to plan. So Terraform apply plan will apply the plan. I think we can try. And let's see what happens. So Terraform apply plan. Creating. And we can go in here, I guess. First VM is already there. Still creating. 10 seconds elapsed. Oh, there are errors. Either disabling VM configuration or enabling BIOS. KVM virtualization configured but not available. Either disable NVM configuration or enabling BIOS. Oh Jesus. Are you telling me? KVM virtualization configured but not available. KVM virtualization. I read something about KVM in the documentation of Proxmox previously. So if I go here, write KVM space, I find 8 of them, 20 of them, many of them. Okay. Quick emulator and these open source supervisor. KVM virtualization configured but not available. Are you telling me that KVM can build virtual machine? It means the QM is running the support of the virtualization process extension via the Linux KVM module, kernel module for virtualization. In the context of Proxmox virtualization environment, QM and KVM can be used interchangeably. I wish. With devices and para-virtualized devices. Okay. Tell me that I need to perform some operation in the freaking BIOS and I will be extra happy. I thought I had that in the BIOS already enabled, so it's kind of odd. Okay, let's continue. Hardware. Define hardware available to the KVM VM. What? What? Guess. To access the various guest management interfaces, select a VM or container from the menu on the left. Okay, summary KVM hardware. Define the hardware available to the KVM virtual machine. Okay. Close. Give it a minute. Oh, look at that. One processor, one core, 512. Interesting. But I guess that is normal given the fact that I didn't configure any of that. It is the next step. We already had an issue with the first test and it's quite interesting already. And we can now focus on fixing this one for a few more minutes, given that I will need to also go to sleep in a few hours. And I need to do some things as well after the stream, so wait a minute. KVM hardware. summary console. Okay, yes. Managed first VM. And indeed, that is the name I had given. Not cuts first name first VM. Talking about Proxmox. So this is seemingly correct. I'm thinking there is either an issue with the cBIOS. Maybe I can retrieve a fucking Ubuntu, which is something that I don't necessarily like, but and test with that as well. What is that? Okay. Okay. I think I got to the point that this is benchmark on the KVM wiki. And indeed, it seems that the PC hardware emulated by QEMU includes a model network controllers, SCSI, IDE, and controllers, serial ports. The complete list can be seen in KVM1 webpage. All of them emulated in software. All of these devices are the exact software equivalent or of existing hardware devices, and if the OS running in a guest has the proper drivers, it will use the devices as if it were running on real hardware. This allows QEMU to run unmodified operating systems. That's great. This, however, has up-performance costs, as running in software, what was meant to run in hardware, involves a lot of extra work for the CPU, for the host CPU. That's fair enough. To mitigate this, QEMU can present to the guest operating system paravirtualized devices where the guest OS recognizes it as running inside QEMU and cooperates with the hypervisor. Got it. QEMU relies on the VirtIO virtualization standard and is thus able to present paravirtualized VirtIO devices, which includes a paravirtualized generic disk controller, a paravirtualized network card, a paravirtualized serial port, a paravirtualized SCSI controller, etc. It is highly recommended to use the VirtIO devices whenever you can. Great. Still, it seems I may need to check in the BIOS. Before I do that, I will check the error. So, before anything else, notes. Okay. The Terraform plan command allows the usage of a file as output for the plan for itself as output. The plan is written in the file and then passed to the apply the Terraform apply command. Creation test 1, which I think will be the single creation test we do in this stream, and we will continue next week with the next creation test. But this week, before we finish, we document the error and we also try to completely understand the error. So in the notes we will write something like after the plan was located in a file and passed to the apply to the Terraform apply command, we got the following. This output allows us to understand a few things. 1. The Terraform provider is correctly configured as the interaction was successful. 2. The API token created at the start of the stream is also correctly working now. 3. The syntax for the usage of the ISO is also correct. 4. It would seem that the host for Proxmox VE has some BIOS configuration that needs to be tweaked for the creation of the VMs to work correctly. What follows? What follows is investigation of the error. we need to confirm this step. If the step is confirmed, the solution BIOS quick will be done off stream for I want to say obvious reason, but they are not exactly obvious reasons. It is the same reason I have for not showing the installation of Proxmox I've done before starting to stream. That is, I don't have a capture card, so I cannot show the screen in a proper way. I can only show it in an awful way, and I don't want to do that. So that is the point of that obvious reason that is now obvious. And also attempt a test with Ubuntu ISO, because as I said, I had that kind of ugly feeling that maybe I am limited to what I can use as ISOs with the Terraform and Proxmox together. I'm not certain. We will figure it out. What I can do now is but not available. So disable in VM. If I check the plan, either disable in VM or enable KVM virtualization configured. KVM is true. So I could say false here. But if I say false there, what happens? KVM. Freaking thing. Are you telling me that's not in the argument? Reference. That is annoying. That is annoying. Okay, let's see. BIOS is something that I can. The BIOS to use option are CBIOS or VMF for UEFI. Okay, still steep learning curve, but we are already quite there. I want to say we are not vertical in the learning curve, which I expect is kind of logarithmic. I don't like it, but let's try to do this. Let's try. Oh, yeah, sure. Whatever. You're awful, but it's okay. Okay. You need to know, and there it is. My my reading of the error is correct. But virtualization is already Message, then the system does not see the virtualization as enabled. Check the output of the message after boot for hints to where the problem might be. There are any updates available for your firmware BIOS. Make sure to install them. This is something I had done right before installing. TPM support on the BIOS for more bad attitude. Okay. So the trust of virtual and okay, you should put this option on your VM if you okay. A tip perfect thanks. Okay. It seems that I will need to do some tweaking in the BIOS. Cheap viewers. Oh Jesus. Someone wrote in the chat, and what did they write? Spam. Yeah, I will need to figure out some things also related to the Twitch chat, which in my experience is chaotic at best. But anyways, let's check options, and if I go to KVM hardware virtualization, yes, and indeed this is this, but I don't really find this in here, so maybe it's not named KVM, it's Virt something. Virt Ethereum type VG block network block disk block disks EFI. Okay. PCI. PCIs. And mapping the immediate device. Serial block, TPM block required. Interesting. Storage. What the hell? I don't see any storage. And this is a TPM state block is used to configure a TPM disk. It may only be specified once. A storage backend on which to store the TPM disk. So if I have the TPM block, I need to use the storage. If I don't have the TPM block, I'm cool. It seems. Right? Right. USB block. RNG block. Random number generator. Okay, nice. SMBIOS. Family. Attribute reference. Import. Not import. Before that, disk block, network VGA, CPU flags. Virt basis for speculative store bypass protection for AMD models. The CPU is AMD. Yeah, but I don't see the point. I need to check the CPU block again, vCores, flags, the CPU flags to enable for the queuing guests. Nice, but not what I need. And this is the general one that I checked before, if I recall correctly. The top level. Okay, so it is really likely to be a BIOS configuration issue for the hosts of the Proxmox VM. This is truly interesting, but at the same time a bit infuriating for myself, because it means that I didn't check the BIOS properly, and doing it again is kind of annoying. Kind of. Not too annoying, but it's okay. So, having said that, I think that for tonight, or today, or at least for this stream, we are done. I want to thank you everyone, and see you next time.